All right, this is the second part of 7.4 discounts, the other methods. We're going to talk about partial payments. So we've got three things that we've got to do here. We need to find the complement of the discount percent. Remember, the complement is always 1 minus the percent. We're going to divide the partial payment by the complement to get that cash discount percent, and that's going to be the amount that's credited. So what we're looking for, again, the amount credited is actually the base, and we have the partial payment, and we're dividing it by the complement percent. Then we're going to subtract that from the invoice amount, and that's going to give us the balance due, and then eventually we can figure out how much discount we actually got, okay? So the first thing that we have to do is make sure that we actually get the discount, looking at the discount date. And so again, this is 10 Proximo, which means that it has to be 10 days at the end of the March month, okay, because the invoice was dated March 8th. So we've got the last discount is 10 days after March, which would be April 10th, okay? Well, they made a partial payment on April 5th. So partial payment made on April 5th, okay? So we need to find the complement of 1% discount because it's, excuse me, not 1%, it's 2%. It's 2% discount, 2% of 2% discount. So 1 minus 2% as a decimal is 0.98. So for part A, the amount credited is the partial payment amount divided by the complement, 0.98. And so that is $459.18. That's the amount credited for the partial payment, okay? Then the balance due is the invoice amount minus the credit given. So the invoice amount was $1,140. The credited amount was $459.18, and that says the amount that is due is $680.82. The cash discount, the actual cash discount, is the credit given minus the partial payment. Okay, so the credit given was $459.18, and the partial payment was $450, and so that says you got a cash discount of $9.18. Okay, so the next one, we've got 20 days at the end of the month that it was dated. So 20 days after September, because that's when the invoice date, which would mean October 20th. Well, a partial payment was paid on the 15th. So partial payment on 11, nope, that's 10, October's 10, sorry, 10/15. So we get, for part A, 2%, because that's what it says right here, 2% complement which is 1 minus 0.02, which again comes out to be 0.98. And so the amount credited is the partial payment amount, which was $590, divided by 0.98, which is $602.04. So the balance due is the invoice amount, $1,082, minus the amount credited, and that says $479.96. And then the cash discount is $602.04 minus the partial payment of $590, which says you got $12.04 discount. All right, so now we've got some actual examples from your textbook, and there's not a lot of room to write on these, so I'm just going to kind of do some extra work up here at the top. The first thing is always to make sure that you're actually getting the discount if it's, based on when the invoice is, what the terms are, and when it was paid, okay? So I'm just going to label this one as 1, this one as 2, and this one as 3, and I'm going to kind of do the work for 1 up here. So receipt of goods 20 days after the goods were received, okay? So if we have July 25th plus 20, which would be July 45th, which if we take out the 31 days of July, that leaves us with 14. So August 14th, and they paid by August 10th, so they get the discount. So we will have a 3% of the invoice amount. So 0.03 times $682.28 is equal to $20.47, and that goes in the first blank. And then the amount due is the invoice, $682.28, minus the discount, and that comes out to be $661.81, and that goes in here. Okay? All right, so I'm going to draw a line here, and I'm going to come up here with number 2. All right, so number 2 is at the end of May, 15 days at the end of May, which would make that June 15th. Well, they paid on the 12th, so we know they're going to get a discount, okay? So we're going to get 3% of $356.20, which is 0.03. Times that, and that comes out to be $10.69. And then the amount due is $356.20 minus $10.69, which comes out to be $345.51. All right. Last but not least, okay? So this one is an extra. So we've got 30 days plus August 2nd, which would make it August 32, but we don't have 32 days. We've only got 31. So that says we have 31 days in August. Yeah, that says we have September 1. And that gives us the discount. Okay. All right. So we need 3%. 3% of 2540 and that comes out to be $76.20. And then the discount is 2540 minus 76. Oops, I didn't line that up very well. Minus 7620 comes out to be 2,463 and 80 cents. So again, the hard part about all this stuff is just kind of knowing how to read that, and then knowing where to, apply the discount and whether the discount is actually going to be applied. Okay. All right. So then now we're going to do a partial payment one again. And so remember, this one has a couple things. It says as of September 1, we've got 10 days. So 10 days plus September 1 is September 11th. And they made a partial payment on the 8th. Partial payment on, oops, darn it, on 9/8. Okay, so they get an 8%. So we need to find the complement of that. 1 minus 0.08 is 0.92. So the credit amount is the partial payment amount, 1,350, divided by the complement, which is $1,467.39. The balance, that's part A. The balance due is the invoice amount, which is $2,016.90 minus $1,467.39. So the balance due will be $549.51. And the last one is just finding the amount due, where you've got the invoice is dated October 20th. The goods are received December 1st, and you get 20 days of receipt of goods. So 20 receipt of goods plus the December 1st says that you receive the discount up until December 21st, which is my dad's birthday. So it was paid on the 20th, so they get the discount, which was 1%. So 1% of 1,525 and that is $15.25. So the amount due is 1,525 minus $15.25 discount, which comes to be $1,509.75. And that finishes up 7.4.